an honor to be the first one to speak to you people. Excuse me. My name is Santopietro. I'm originally from New Brunswick, New Jersey. Please don't hold that against me. I've been down here for 18 years. I live in Pawleys Island. In the daytime, I'm a realtor with Pawleys Island Realty, and in nighttime, I'm a professional musician. My story, we haven't heard me yet. My story begins about 54 years ago. When I was a young man, I was working in a music store selling pianos. And one day, a gentleman came in, and he asked the boss if he could borrow somebody to deliver some pianos. So I volunteered, and I helped him deliver these 2 pianos to a club in Plainfield, New Jersey. And on the way back, he asked if I wanted to work for him, and I asked him what he did. And he said that he did PA. And I said, well, what's PA? Well, he was a nice little Italian man. And he said, oh, I do a PA. A PA is a public address. I said, public address? What do you mean, public address? Oh, I do speakers and sound for big bands. And I said, well, what are you offering? He said, well, I'll give you $75 a day, and I'll pay your expenses. And we'll be on the road for about 2 weeks. So I said to him, well, that's great. I'm in a band right now. I know like 5 microphones. He said, well, we have 30 microphones. And long story short, I said, so who's this big band? He said, it's some rock and roll band from California called the Beach Boys. Yeah, well, the irony is when I was in 8th grade and I was in California with my sister, the first record I ever bought was Surfin' Safari by the Beach Boys. So here it is 10 years later, I'm actually setting up stage for the Beach Boys. Well, I was actually a roadie for the sound company, and what it involved was setting up stage. Well, I'd taken 12 years of classical piano. I knew a lot of songs then, and the owner of the PA company said, why don't you play the piano so we can set the house EQ? So every day around 3:30 in the afternoon, I would play the piano for a half hour, and they would set the house EQ. Well, obviously the Beach Boys heard me play, and nothing was made of it. Well, anyway, not bad. So as life would have it, we did about, I think it was like 12 shows the first couple gigs. And we found out that we were gonna go to Europe. So I ended up having my mother send a birth certificate to like 15 different hotels so I could get a passport to go with them. And of course the Beach Boys pulled all kinds of strings to get us to go. Well, as life would have it, we were in Europe one time, and the announcer for the Beach Boys, John Parks, was late. And Carl was standing backstage, and he said, does anybody want to bring us on stage? And you know, I was young and stupid, and I raised my hand and said, sure, I'll do it. So I wrote on my hand 5 things: transcendental meditation, upcoming tour, a couple other things. Anyway, I managed to walk out on stage, and just like this, except there were like 10,000 people. And when that Super Trooper hit me, I want to tell you, it was scary. But once again, I was young and stupid, and I managed to do it. Well, that was the best part of it. Carl said that, you know what, if you wanted to do that, Tom, you can do that. So for the next, I guess, month and a half, I was the announcer for the Beach Boys. And I used to say, ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys. Anyway, that was the highlight of my life at the time. As it would happen to be, one of the shows in Europe, they were having trouble with getting the paid for the second show. And Carl said, if you want to go out there and play, just go out and play whatever you want on the piano in between the 2 shows, and I'll go like this, which will tell you when to stop. And I was, once again, stupid. I said, sure, I'll do it. And I went out, and I got behind the grand piano and kind of closed my eyes and just played for like 10, 15 minutes. Well, when I opened my eyes, there were like 15,000 people. My legs started to shake like you couldn't believe it. But it was exciting, and Carl finally said, that's enough. And I got up to walk away, and people applauded. Well, to this day, that's probably the highlight of my musical career. And with that being said, Carl also allowed me to sit in on a couple of their encores, which, just listening to the band right now and standing up here in the middle of it, I can't tell you the excitement of being in the middle of the stage for a 10-piece band, because the Beach Boys had 6 musicians that came along with them. I can't tell you the excitement of feeling the bass drum hitting you in the chest, and to actually sit there and make music. Well, as life would have it, I was offered a job if I wanted to go to California and work with him. And Dennis said, I asked what would I do, and Dennis said, I'll find something for you to do. Well, once again, I was doing stupid things, and I decided not to go to California, which proved to be good. My boss at the sound company bought a 9-foot Steinway and a 7-foot Baldwin, and I proceeded to deliver that for the next, I'd say maybe 3 years in the New York area. Watkins Glen, the band the Allman Brothers and the Dead, I put the pianos on stage for that. And to be able to sit on stage and play that piano to, I don't know how many thousands of people out over this entire field was just an amazing experience. A little adjunct to this story is that when we were in Europe, there was a show in Germany someplace, and the lady that I'm currently married to, actually the only one I've been married to now, well, she was over there with a singing group from her high school, I think it was, or college, and they saw the posters for the Beach Boys on a pole, and they were upset because they couldn't go. They were doing some kind of choral group, and did I hear a bell? Okay, well, we'll close it up. Well, the bottom line is, I ended up meeting this lady 8 years later, and we got married. And one day, she was upstairs in the attic looking through my memorabilia, and she realized that she was in the same city, right outside the concert that the Beach Boys were having, and we hadn't met each other yet. Well, I'm sorry? It was Munich. You know, that's why I bring her along. She remembers everything. But the kick is that we ended up realizing that we were in the same city at the same time. She couldn't make Watkins Glen because she was doing her college orientation, I believe. And it's 45 years later, and we're still together. So that's the best part of the story. And I'm going to end this story by just saying that I wasn't anything more than a sound technician with the Beach Boys. They were friends. I kept in touch. Dennis was my closest friend. So I'm going to end this with the way I started a lot of shows with them. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys.